welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Okay, I think it's time to return to the camera stuff, which we had paused for several days now. But I think it's important that we need to get that rolling. And hopefully, eventually, sometime over the finish line, because yeah, I've been working on this for really a long time now, and nothing to show for it, right? Yeah, okay. So let's go back onto this branch here. It's not yet rebased with the main branch. I would do that after the current investigation is done. So the current investigation was that there was a discrepancy in camera visual with the changes I added, but when I had this added, then then things looked normal. Now the question is why? That we first need to understand. And that actually was just an accident here, what I did. So ground level, reset pivot to ground. Okay. So this one is only called at the start of the level. Good. And then it will set the camera offset Z to some value. And then we'll set these guys here. Yeah. So it's strange because the original code. Oh, I can't click now here. So in the original, what did we do? In the original code, we set yeah. So here originally, this is the wrong function, never mind. It's somewhere else. Oh, where is it? Hmm. Mm. Let's search for this. There we go. That's a relevance code. So here it used camera, right? It's really odd. Oh, this is really odd. Really odd. We said pivot to ground. Is there any other place that sets camera Z? I don't understand it. Why would that work then? It doesn't make sense to me. Shit. I don't understand. Camera transform. Ah, man. It changes the zoom level. Maybe. The problem is I don't know what the correct course of action is here because I don't understand where this discrepancy comes from. Man, this is a tough problem. So if the camera offset doesn't have the right but so the camera offset Z it also affects how far the camera is away from the ground, right? And then the zoom moves it in and out. It really sucks. I don't know what the problem is. Pivot to ground. Camera offset Z. Ground level. Ground height. At this position. No. Okay. So what I would like to see is when is this guy called in the cutscene? I mean, it must be called or not. Reset pivot to ground. Well, hold on. There's also another function that changed the ground height, right? Aha. The ground level is changed here. Okay, maybe it's related to this ground level here being changed. Let me find all references to ground level. No, we don't get any references. Of course not. Okay, so here Update terrain. That's something we have added. Camera pivot. Yeah, okay, what's not used right now? We don't care. Okay, that's interesting. So the ground level is updated here. Yeah, this could change things. So this reset pivot to ground, this one is, what is this called? Let me go to the update function. So here we update move pivot to ground, right? But this one is no longer up. This should no longer be called during scripted camera movement, right? Yeah. So before, does the ground level have any relevance other than setting the camera pivots? Desired height. Desired height. Oh. Get desired height. Yeah, so that was desired height. Desired height. Terrain height under camera. Okay, we changed that. Terrain height under camera. Okay, so that has changed as well. So this here previously was that. Let's run with this and see how that looks. Man, so complicated. Man, this camera code really gives me a huge headache. It's okay, just don't stress it. Just take it easy. Go slow, take it easy. No problem. No problem. Beautiful. Great jump. Okay. Seems fine. I think. I think that looks normal. Yeah, okay, so there is a difference here then. Yeah. Train height under camera. Ground level. that explains the issue. Let me revert the other changes here. So we put this back in. And yeah. This and oh, this one doesn't hurt. Let's comment it out. Okay, so the only change now is we changed here ground level to terrain height on the camera. Maybe. Yeah, but, so maybe the problem is. No, we'll see. We'll see. Let's just test. Let's go. No, this is already wrong. This is wrong. Here we see way too much stuff here at the top. Yeah, okay, so that is wrong. Man. So there are these other places that that change the ground level in the camera scripts. Which one are these? Let me put some breakpoints here. Yeah, just these two here, right? Yeah, let's see if any of these hits. Ah, yeah, there we go. So this one will change the ground level. 109. So what happens if we comment this out? I think that's a semi-useful test, just to see what happens. There could be a behavioral change, maybe. Oh boy, this is really tricky. This stuff is tricky. Oh, that was weird. restart that. Yeah, I think the camera is already looking too far up. It should be looking a bit lower. So it's already wrong. I can tell. But let's watch anyway. It's easiest to see when it looks to this tunnel. Next scene. Oh, well, that looks different. That looks very different. That looks that looks different in other ways. Now it's looking further down. What the hell is this bullshit? Ugh. Okay, so somehow this is very much necessary, this ground level shit. Oh man. Ugh. What about this current height under camera? Height around pause. Terrain height under camera. Some bullshit. Terrain height under camera. Which one is more correct? Ground level or terrain height on the camera here? Scripted camera movement. Take its height above ground as our desired height. Height above ground. Zoom. Terrain height under camera. Oh, man. I still don't understand it. We need to understand it to properly treat it. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to commit to any changes if we don't fully comprehend how the ground level or the camera offset here affects the pitch or the pitch in some way. Maybe it's because of this FX pitch. This is FX pitch, right? This one, camera effects pitch, 0 flat, infinite, lockdown, 1 normal. So this one is in build camera transform. It modifies the height. Height. Fuck. Could be. Maybe. Yeah. It's, man. It's bad. Yeah. So. Get desired heights. Get desired zoom. Oh man, it's so complicated. My gosh. Terrain height under camera. Yeah, I don't know which one to commit here. Both of these appear to work. I don't know. me see how normal skirmish looks now. DEFCON. USA. Oh. Well, that looks funky. Okay, that doesn't look correct. Which indicates that it must be the other way. This way. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, we have a lead here, and we know that this stuff will avoid the issue, but why? We need to understand this. We need to understand. But how? How do we do it? Why? Source position X, Y, Z. I can't wrap my head around this bullshit. There must be an obvious explanation for this. So basically, camera Z will be static and it will not change, right? Whereas if we put this like we have now here with calculating calculating the Z here fresh, which we do every frame here, then the camera is looking different in the scripts. Man. I'm afraid that if we I'm afraid that we have to somehow preserve this behavior that at the start of every cutscene it needs to assume the camera offsets from when the map was first started, because that is when the camera pivot was reset to the default, which is at here at the starting position, right? So that we would say, oh, the scripted camera starts, and then we change the ground level, and this. But before I do any of this, I need to understand why. Like, mathematically, why is it necessary that the camera offset is exactly at this at this height, which was determined at the start of the map, right? So obviously, if we change the camera position, if the okay, I still don't understand why this happens, but I have an idea of how we could mitigate this in the cutscenes, where we say we during scripted camera we use a different value to calculate the camera offset with this one. Maybe. Okay, but I would like to understand why there's this discrepancy. Yeah. That would be good to know. So if the height is different, the height determines the distance, right? So then these distances will be different as well, especially the y-axis. The x-axis doesn't matter. This one is 0. So I think this one will be 0, right? But this one has like a distance. Yeah. So the distance is different, and then the height is different. And then if we do a and then we do an fx pitch, which is just scaling here this height, then yeah, I guess that could be different. Yeah. Okay, so I have an idea what we could try of doing. So we can, let's put here a define up here, and we say define support or enable original scripted camera, or let's say preserve original scripted camera math 1. Okay, and then and then here we do then we have a then we have an initial ground level. Yeah. Initial ground level. Which we set identically here, 10.0f, and yeah, and then we put this one here, and this one will be but this one, hold on, where's this called? Let's do oh, sorry about that. Oh. So originally there was a function here which was init height for map. Let's get this function back. So we put this back, and view.h, put this back. View.h, view, there we go. Yeah. And view.h, and here there we go. And we put this here back in here, put that up here, make a copy, there we go. And then basically here we call this, and then we assign initial ground level to ground level, ground level, there we go. Okay, and then we do, now there will be some place this one is called at. Here, game logic, so set up the camera. So we make a copy of this and put this in here, and then I think that will be it. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then, so we save the initial ground level, and then in the function to get camera offset Z, we have this, and then we say if preserve this one, else, and if, yeah, and then we say if, can probably do this. So we say if scripted camera. We have added here some other field, some boolean. Is controlled by user. So we say if not is controlled by user. Well, I'm a bit skeptical of this one. If not is controlled by user, then we use initial ground level here. Initial ground level plus this, and then return this. Okay. So I don't know if that will work properly, but it's worth a try. So if it's not controlled by user, means it's scripted camera, then we use the initial ground level as our camera offset Z, otherwise you use the ground level. Yeah. gosh. Okay, let's pray that this works. Yeah, I still am not able to properly explain why this happens, but I think like the distance to the target, it kind of explains discrepancies. But how this all works, I don't fully understand yet. And to me, this looks wrong already. I'm not sure. I think it already looks wrong. No? That looks correct. Okay, I'm curious how the transition will look when we get into the game. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, it does look promising. Beautiful. Okay, let's see. I'm now curious how this transition look. Maybe there will be some weird. So basically, right now, I didn't move the camera, so I think we are still in scripted camera mode. And now if I move the camera, then it moves out, and it looked fine. Yeah, okay, it looked pretty okay. Okay, and now if I go up here and the pivot is looking good, right? Yeah. Okay, so things are looking good. Okay, this looks very promising. It works. I still don't fully understand it though. So that's a bit worrying. But I think what happens is that the initial ground level, it puts the camera at a different height and at a different distance to the ground, because here this math, where is it? This one here. Ah, shit. Where is it? It was somewhere here. Where is it? Oh, Jesus. It's somewhere. Search for camera offset.z. This one here. So this here is weird. And essentially, this one sets a height, and then this one sets a distance, the forward distance. And it's dependent on this. Yeah, depending on this and on this here, the default camera pitch. Yeah, and so if the ground level is different, depending on the ground level, this distance here changes. And then, so I wonder that this then affects the way that the camera looks at things, because the distances will be different. So I think that this is a reason. I just cannot fully wrap my head around this, but that kind of explains that behavior. So what we do now is, for a scripted camera, we always use this here, this height, the initial height. We could also, maybe then we should also use this limitation here, right? Then we say, where is it? Initial ground level, and then we say here, const x per. We say, we can just say here max ground level 120. Yeah, so we take the max of this, yeah. Let me add here a super hackers add info. Today is 04/2025. The initial ground level is required to preserve the original look of the scripted camera, because the ground level affects because the camera height affects its distance, because the camera height affects its distance to, it affects its forward distance, and therefore the overall look of the camera. Hopefully. The initial ground level is saves the initial ground level. Preserve the original look of the scripted camera. Otherwise, the distance otherwise the camera height will affect the camera forward distance, camera forward distance, and therefore slightly alter the look. Must save and use initial ground level for camera height. Camera height calculation. Camera height determination. For set it is necessary to use the initial ground level for the scripted camera height to preserve the original look of the scripted camera. Otherwise, camera height, the forward distance, camera forward distance will change, slightly alter the look. Otherwise, the forward distance of the camera will change. The forward distance of the camera will change. Will slightly change the look. Slightly change the view pitch. I think that explains it, if I'm not mistaken. Let me preserve this here. Let me put this here. Say const expr max ground level. There we go. Maybe we should move this comment to here. Yeah, I think we do that. Okay, so I hope that this is a robust mitigation of the problem, and it's possible to compile this out. So someone could say, yeah, I don't need this legacy behavior. Because to me, this looks like a bug. I don't know how to classify this. Because essentially what it would mean is, if you play a campaign mission and you press numpad 5 to recenter the camera, then it will change the ground level variable, and it will then affect the next cutscene. It will change the way that the cutscene will look with this low pitch that it does, and then it will be slightly different. Probably nothing that anyone ever noticed, but it is a difference, right? So as long as you don't press numpad 5, I don't think it will change this this pivot point towards the ground, right? So the initial ground level, as you had started the map with, will remain. So typically the cutscenes will look the same, but when you press numpad 5, it will reset, and then the camera will look slightly different. Now with this change, it will save the initial ground level, so the scripted camera should always look consistent. No matter what the user does, like if you press numpad 5, moves the camera around, it should always be the same, hopefully. Hopefully. Yeah. Very interesting. I think we will need to watch a couple of cutscenes to probably side by side with the original to really see that there's no discrepancy. I'm really scared of this because it's really counterintuitive, this shit. Okay. Good, but it looks promising. Okay, cool. Yeah. Then I think I'll take a break here. Yeah. Yeah. Take a break. Then next session, maybe we do some testing. I mean, what other outstanding issues are there? I'm not sure. Yeah, we need to test and see if we identify more issues, which there probably are, right? And then we also need to rebase the branch because the camera code was moved to core, and this branch is still behind where it's split between generals and 0 hour different code. Yeah. Which will be probably a pain to merge again, but I think we can figure it out. Yeah, good. I will take a break here. I think that was a good session. We did figure out a workaround. We have a rough idea why this happens, and it's probably all plausible. I'm happy that I found a solution for this because it's really not straightforward. Yeah. Okay. We have to see if there are more issues, which certainly is possible. Especially with the scripted camera. Yeah. Good, then I will take a break here. I wish you a great day or night. Until next time, goodbye.